Hello friends, how are you doing today? My name is Mary and this is Happily Ever Esch. It feels like it has been a very long time since I have sat down and chatted with the camera, so I kind of just wanted to have a little bookish chat, kind of give you guys a catch up on what I've been reading and just talk about why I love audiobooks. So let's just hop on in. So I hope that you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving time, a good holiday, or just a good break with your family, that you ate lots of food and you were able to just be with people that you love. I got to go home over Thanksgiving, so we went home on Wednesday night and I was able to take Friday off, and we stayed the whole weekend with both my family and my husband's family. We are from the same town, and so that makes it really nice to get to see everyone. I got to see our nieces and nephews, which was great, and just hang out with my family and see my sister and her boyfriend, and yeah, it was just really lovely. And so I had a really relaxing Thanksgiving time, and November's just seemed really busy. We had a birthday party for one of our nephews that we went to, and we've gone home a couple times, and so my reading month hasn't been spectacular, and I think it's just that time of year where everyone starts to get a little down. You have all these exciting things going on like the holidays, and there's just so many cheerful moments, but daylight is very limited. It's getting darker. The world's kind of turning brown and crunchy. And while there are parts of fall that I love, those are also some things you kind of have to adjust to. I've just not felt very motivated to read, or when I do sit down to read, I feel like I haven't really been able to focus on the words or stay focused for very long. I feel like just very flighty and tired. I think another part of feeling unmotivated and not being able to focus has been I haven't felt inspired or wanting to sit down and make videos. And I think that's part of just feeling kind of down, not having a lot of daylight, you know, all of these weird expectations that we put on ourselves, but also kind of just this weird feeling of that I haven't been reading enough, or I haven't been wanting to engage with books because I'm not sitting down and physically spending time reading. And then the things that I was filming, I didn't feel like I wanted to post. Like I sat down and I filmed the books that I was thankful for video, and I sat down and I filmed Maria over at Read, Create, Repeat Homeschool's Nonfiction November tag, which were videos that I wanted to do, but I haven't felt like I've had the headspace to sit down and think and talk eloquently. And not even that I think you have to talk eloquently, but just talk in a cohesive way about my thoughts and feelings on things. And so those are videos that I still might put up, because I feel like I put this weird expectation like, oh, you can't post the books that you're thankful for because it's not Thanksgiving anymore, or Nonfiction November's over, so you can't post those videos, which is silly. If I want to refilm them, then I'm gonna refilm them and post them. So we'll see if I feel like doing that later. And I think that we feel that way sometimes. We just don't feel inspired, or we don't feel like the things that we're doing are good enough. And I think that's just kind of a natural ebb and flow, you know, of the things that we're doing and making or working on or whatever. So it's not even like I feel bad about that at all. And I kind of feel like I'm coming on the up and up, and I was just like, need to sit down and film and talk so I can kind of get over that and go on with all of the videos that I'm looking forward to film for December and in the new year. And so, like I said, I think that's part of just the holiday season, and while there's so many beautiful things about that, there's also side effects. And I feel like at my job, the holiday season is harder. Like I've said in past videos, I'm a social worker and I work with kids in the foster care system, and so that's just a really tough time of year. And I can't imagine, you know, what a lot of these kiddos are going through, and so there's just some higher needs at work with some kiddos that we work with, which, you know, is very understandable. And you know, I think it's a good reminder for me that while there's a lot of joys that I have to look forward to in the holiday season, there's also, you know, a lot of sadness for people. And so I don't know, all of that conglomeration to say I haven't been feeling very motivated to physically read. I have finished 4 books this month, and I'm working on a 5th, like that I started in November. And so that's pretty good. That's well above, you know, what average reading for most of the population looks like, but I felt a lot of guilt and just that I wasn't doing enough, because all of the reading that I've been doing has mainly been through audiobooks. And then I really got to thinking, and I'm like, why do I feel this guilt? Well, I think because I'm not sitting down and physically reading. And a lot of the times that I listen to audiobooks, I'm doing other things like cooking or getting ready or driving. And so I feel like I'm not giving like specific time to reading. But then I kind of started to think about all of the awesome perks of audiobooks. Like, one, that you can do other things and be a productive human as well as read. And I've just thought of all the joy that audiobooks have given to my driving. And I have to drive quite a bit for my job. And so there are just huge, vast chunks of time where I would be bored or miserable that I get to experience stories. And that's so cool. And there's a couple places that I have to go recurringly because we do visits or things in the same place. So there's places that I travel to very regularly. And it's really cool every time I do that trip to remember the audiobook that I was listening to last time and to get those like warm, fuzzy feelings that you get from stories. That's not something to feel guilty about. That's something to be like, what a joy and a privilege that I have, that I get to sit down and enjoy these spaces with books. And so that kind of got me thinking about all the other reasons that I love audiobooks. And I think that there is just such a cool part of reading, of like getting told a story. And I think when I talk to people or watch videos of other people talking about why they love audiobooks, that's a very common thing for people to really enjoy. I think stories have very traditionally been told from generation to generation. It's cool that I get to experience the story in kind of a raw form of someone else telling me the story. I really appreciate that about audiobooks, and I think it adds just a whole new experience and dimension to the story that I wouldn't have otherwise experienced had I just physically read the book. Another reason I love audiobooks is because, like I was talking about earlier, I've been having a hard time focusing or being able to get into a headspace where I can sit down and be calm and read. Listening to audiobooks has been something that I can focus on because I'm often doing something else while I'm reading the audiobook. So I'm not just sitting down and trying to get in the headspace of reading and being calm and being able to focus on the words and all of that, but I can be getting ready or driving or cooking or doing something that's keeping me active, but it's kind of mindless, so then I can focus on what I'm reading. So a month where I probably wouldn't have read any books, I got to finish 4 books because of audiobooks and because they were able to help me focus. And I don't think that I got anything less from the reading experience. I read 2 wonderful nonfiction, Evicted by Michael Desmond and Another Day in the Death of America by Gary Young, and they were both such wonderful reads. I gained so much information. They were enthralling. Every time I got in the car, like even if it was for like a 3-minute drive across town, I put the audiobook on because I was just absolutely so interested in them. That reading experience was just as good or even better than if I would have just been reading it, because I was able to focus and just be enthralled with the story. Whereas if I would have had to sit down and read it, I don't think I would have had the headspace to do that. So another thing I was able to do this month was reread a book that was a favorite in 2016 for me. I reread The Queen of the Tyrling through audio, and I don't think I would have ever reread that book if I had to physically read it, because I have a really hard time like justifying dedicating time for rereads, which that's probably another discussion for another video. But there's another kind of that guilt of like, there's so many unread books on your shelf and you're going to reread something. But because I was listening to it on audiobook, and because I was kind of reclaiming some of that wasted time, or I don't even want to say wasted time, but time where, you know, I have to drive 4 hours for work, and so that's something I have to do, but I can kind of reclaim some of that time or use some of that time in a productive way by listening to an audiobook. And so you know, I felt like, yeah, I really think I want to reread this through audio, and it was an awesome experience. I loved re-experiencing the story. I'm really excited to pick up the sequel now because the story is fresh in my mind, and that is a book that I've really been wanting to pick up. And yeah, I got to reread it and re-experience it, but in a totally different way. And I loved listening to it on audiobook. The narrator was so good and just made me re-fall in love with the characters and just really sparked my excitement for that series. So that's another really good thing about audiobooks, is you can re-experience an old favorite in a new way, and you kind of feel like you're getting a novel experience. And so that's really cool and a really awesome way to use audiobooks. And then lastly, I want to say that books are expensive, and just another little plug for libraries. Most libraries have either audiobooks you can check out like physically through like CDs, but also the Overdrive app, or you should definitely talk with your librarians about what kind of digital checkout system your library system uses, because I get great books on Overdrive through my library's digital system, and it is an awesome way to be able to experience audiobooks, and so cool because I can get on my phone, get on my app whenever a book is tickling my fancy, and see if it's available for checkout. It's not always, and sometimes I have to put myself on a wait list, and then maybe later I'm not as interested, but there's a lot of times where it's there, I can check it out, and I get instant access to so many cool books. And they also do that for ebooks, so if you're into ebooks, something to consider. But I just wanted to kind of sit here and talk about my love for audiobooks, and just appreciate how they've enhanced my reading this year, how I've been able to finish so many more books than I ever would have been able to had I not been listening to them, and not feel guilt over them, but celebrate them, because they are something to be celebrated. And I think a lot of people are utilizing audiobooks, and I think we will continue to see an increase in audiobooks that are being produced. And I think it's so cool that we have this demand and this kind of hunger for hearing stories, and like I said, again, to reclaim that time, whether it's while you're exercising or driving or cooking or coloring or whatever, to be able to experience stories. And just I wanted to remind myself that I should be celebrating that, and I shouldn't be feeling guilty. So I am looking forward to talking more about Evicted and Another Day in the Death of America. They were two great reads, looking at two pretty important policy issues, and I felt the reading experience of reading Another Day in the Death of America and then reading Evicted was so cool. Just that intermingling of how all of these different social issues are working together to create a lot of problems, especially for those in poverty in America. They were great, and I am excited to talk more about those. I also finished the 4th Louise Penny Armand Gamache Three Pines Murder Mystery series, which I always love listening to those. The voice narrator does an amazing job and just brings them to life. This one was not set in Three Pines. It was set kind of in a small cabin summer getaway outside of Three Pines. The characters do go to Three Pines a couple of times in the book, but I definitely missed that setting because that's mainly why I read those books, but it was fun nonetheless. And then I also finished Queen of the Tyrling, which was so fun, and I'm so excited to read the second one in that series. And I am tempted to check the audiobook out for that one, even though I have the physical copy on my shelf, because if it's the same voice narrator, she did a phenomenal job. So yeah, I hope that you guys have been enjoying your reads. I hope that you have been having a great November and are looking forward to all of the December festivities and Vlogmas. I'm not doing Vlogmas, but I'm excited to watch Vlogmas videos. I loved it last year. I think that Vlogmas was a big part of why I decided to go ahead and start a channel, because I just had so much fun watching the videos, and I don't know, it just put me in the mood to go ahead and jump into this whole booktube thing. So anyway, long rambly rambles. I hope that you guys are having a great day, and I hope to talk to you very soon. Bye.